WWE King and Queen of the Ring review for you now from 2024. We've got King Gunther, we've got Queen Nia, and Liv Morgan has won the Women's World Championship. Welcome to the stream. Going to quickly go through all the results for you quickly from the show. Of course, the Women's Tag Team Championships was on the countdown match, so Bianca and Jade retaining against Candice and Indi. As we mentioned, Liv Morgan is the new Women's World Champion, defeating Becky Lynch with the help, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, from Dominik Mysterio. We'll be talking about that in great depth, and what will be the future as well for Becky Lynch moving forwards. Sami Zayn did retain the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. Bronson taking the pin, and just clothesline Chad. What's the future going to go on with that? We're going to be talking about that and more. As we mentioned, Queen Nia Jax defeating Lyra Valkyria, so Nia will be taking on the women's champion at SummerSlam, and Gunther defeated Randy Orton in what could be described as a botched finish. We'll be discussing that as well. Of course, he'll be going for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. Gunther doesn't leave the door open for Randy Orton. And last but not least, we've got Cody Rhodes, of course, retained the championship against Logan Paul. Brass knuckles or not, it didn't matter because Cody got the job done. You can see then our faces on the screen. My name's Steve. I'm joined by the one and only Mr. NX Steve in house. What was your overall thoughts of King and Queen of the Ring?
It was all right. I get a feeling that warm weather may have played a part in some of this show, and it seemed to suffer in some places. But other than that, I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed it for most parts. I mean, I do have one or two nitpicks, but then again, it wouldn't be me if I didn't have one or two gripes with something that happens in the show. But yeah, I can't complain. I thought we went down really well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for me, I'm going to say overall thoughts of this show. I enjoyed it. I don't have any major thoughts with the show, but there are one or two storyline beats that are very interesting moving forward. And that's obviously we mentioned there was potential botch in the King of the Ring final, which obviously led to Gunther winning. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. But one of the reasons I think I enjoy these shows more recently, and we'll get your thoughts of it. What are your feelings with Triple H's, let's say, way of thinking when it comes to PLEs? Because now it seems to be a 5-match card. It's almost like the old In Your House days with the current B pay-per-views.
Do you know what? I think he's taken into account that obviously AEW have a history of putting on like 14-match shows, and you can unfortunately have too much of one thing. Yeah, and look, I mean, with the SummerSlam announcement, the fact that that's moving to 2 nights, which, hey, I predicted that 2 years ago is what they should start doing. And like you may have said, and even your short video where you said you expect the Rumble and Survivor Series to go to 2 nights as well, makes sense. It's their big 4. They deserve to. They're making the most of these B-list pay-per-views by just having the 5 matches. Makes them feel fluid and, I mean, not as tiring. And it's not like something's missing from the show either. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, the Intercontinental title went something like 18 months without being on a pay-per-view, and that was just ridiculous in itself. But at the minute, he just seems to be getting it all right. And I mean, we've got a countdown kickoff match, and I was like, that's a shocker because we haven't had one of them for a while. And it's kind of like he seems to use that as a last resort to get a match on the card that he couldn't get on the main show. So I mean, I've got no qualms with it. I think he's doing a great job at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel exactly the same. I feel in a way less is more, because I always feel like when a show feels shorter, because this is less than 3 hours, these shows, and you have less matches on them, I kind of find myself wanting more. And that's a feeling you should feel after this. It's like, oh, I look forward to Raw, I look forward to SmackDown because I want more. Where, like you said there, look, we've got AEW Double or Nothing tonight, and it's like, I am looking forward to it, don't get me wrong, but there's 10 matches on the main card. I am going to get burnt out somewhere. There's somewhere, it doesn't matter what match it's going to be, something's going to land. I'm going to go, oh, this is heavy, because there's not many breaks between the matches either.
Something's going to suffer.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, WWE, you could argue, have too long breaks between some of their matches, but that's probably due to their Peacock subscription. Some people subscribe, some people are not, so they get advertisements. That's how, Peacock makes its money. That's how WWE makes their money from the shows. So it kind of makes sense with that. But that's our thoughts then with what we feel with the pay-per-views, if you want. But let's dive into the show, and we're going to do that just by first going into a few selected comments in there. So Pierre's in the house. Thank you, Pierre, for joining us. Said, I called it. I said Dom was going to help Liv win the championship from Becky Lynch, and it happened. It certainly did, Pierre, indeed. We've got Byron Cutler in-house celebrating Liv Morgan's championship win. Eric Douglas is in as well. Let's go, Liv. So we've certainly got some support there for it. We also have here All Out Queen Nia, acknowledging her indeed. And only one championship left to change hands is the United States Championship. I'm guessing that Byron is happy with every other champion in WWE. But hey, we have a question as well with Nia being the queen of WWE since she's part of the Samoan family. Does this mean that Nia can sit at the head of the table? Not just yet, Pierre, but I like you thinking.
It's a sound idea. I just don't think that's the way it will go, unfortunately.
I'm going to say I think it may go in a direction where she will be a part of the storyline. I just don't think it's going to be involving head of the table. I can see Naomi being obviously on, let's say, Roman and the Uso side. I can see Nia being on the Rock side, but that's if it goes to full on family warfare, because you have one female on each side, and WWE does like to add females into the groups these days. So yes, I've got a great question from Eric Douglas. We'll answer this question once we get into the review. Pardon my French, but who the F beats Jade and Bianca? It's a fantastic question, Eric. We'll try and answer that as we go into the review. But you've mentioned those, and it's a great segue to go into. And of course, there was a countdown match, and of course, that match was Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defeating Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell to retain the women's tag team championships. I don't think it was ever in doubt, but it was a clever match that was put together. Of course, Bianca did injure her leg in the Queen of the Ring qualifying match or first round match against Candice LeRae, and that played through the tournament where Bianca eventually couldn't overcome Nia Jax. So that's what led to this match being put together. The heels work on Bianca's bad leg. Makes perfect sense. Indi mocks Bianca countless times with the hair and just sort of dance around on Bianca. Not gonna lie, drive me a bit mad, but I guess she's doing a job. But I was thinking to myself, get the job done, Indi. You don't get Bianca down very often. That's not how you beat Bianca and Jade, if anyone was wondering. But the hot tag is made to Jade anyway. Jade hits a power bomb on Indi, but Candice breaks up the pin. Candice attempts a moonsault off the second rope onto Jade, who's been held on the ropes by Indi. Didn't come off the way they kind of wanted it to, but Candice still managed to get a 2 count. But then Bianca gets a tag back in, does a chop block to Candice LeRae, so takes her leg out. Jade then has the legs of Candice as Bianca hits a DDT. And then basically it's transition because it's a drop kick, or the legs are pushed from Bianca going into Jade, and then it's transitioned into what's described as the Ocean Cyclone Suplex. Thank you, Corey Graves, for the pinfall victory. What were your thoughts of this kickoff match, shall we say, the countdown to King and Queen of the Ring?
Defending champions, basically. It's almost just there to get Jade and Bianca on the card, which is kind of understood why it was thrown on there. And the thing that most important is the storyline with this one. Like, I imagine, like, going forward, the idea is that Bianca will probably be unfit to continue, and this is going to lead to Jade essentially doing a lot of tag team matches 2-on-1, dominating for a certain amount of time, winning maybe 2 or 3 matches off her own back against some of probably the more established teams in the women's division, before ultimately she will lose a handicap match because she can't do it on her own forever. It's probably going to lead to Jade's first loss in a televised TV match, I would presume. But yeah, it's just a showcase to get the champions on there, just to make them look like complete badasses, which they are, and just to further that story more with that knee. I mean, apart from the fact that Bianca said that Candice has been what was it, on SmackDown or something, or whenever it was, and she was like, oh, Candice has been going at my knee for months. It's like, you have seemed to have first it's Damage Control been going after you for months, and now it's Candice LeRae's been going after your knee for months. So it doesn't work out there. But yeah, just a showcase to get the champions on the show.
I think months means 3 weeks in WWE as well. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But look, this match for me, I will say it was like a TV match. Obviously, it's a countdown kickoff match, so they're not going to overdo it. But the story was there. I think everyone played their part pretty darn well, and it did the job that it needed to do. I would say that it's probably a 2.5 star match if I had to give a grade to it. I like the fact that Jade and Bianca are using different finishes each and every match. There's certainly growing chemistry. I like the creativity together as a partnership. I did not consider what you have said there as a potential way that they could lose those championships. Yeah, to answer your question, I think you're going to need 2 established people to put them away. Like, it's not going to be just, I suppose, and no disrespects to Candice and Indi, but I don't think anyone really gave them a chance. You're going to need 2 top single stars, or dare I say, two single stars that become a duo or a team moving forward. I don't see anyone currently getting the job done. I even see the current number one contenders who should have got the title shot, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
But even then, like I said, if you go with the handicap perspective of it, it gives them an out for Jade losing, because if Jade gets a couple of wins in a couple of handicap matches, builds Jade up to make her look like a badass, and then eventually she has to lose one because she can't do it all by herself. That way, the tag team titles transition. Jade gets her first loss on TV, kind of protecting everyone in every sense of the manner. And then obviously Bianca and Jade can possibly fall out and have their storyline, wherever that's going to go, if they're going to have a rivalry down the line.
Absolutely. It actually just sparked the idea for a heel turn. So I like your suggestion. It's not something I see happening, but I've got to say, I like it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. What would be your star rating for this match?
2.25 for me. Just slightly better than TV quality, and the finish is great, man. I love their tag team finisher. I can watch that all day long.
Absolutely, I agree with that as well there. We're going to the comments once again. Excuse me. Noob and Common House, hope you're doing well. Noob, so Bianca and Jade's first tag team defense is on the pre-show. That's a weird way to book Jade Cargill. I mean, they had the quota of the matches already booked for the show. I guess you have King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, Cody's championship, what was Becky's championship, now Liv's championship, and you had the IC. Of course, Sami Zayn is now going to be on all of these shows. It's hard to find a place to fit them on. But one thing I would say quite positively, because I think it should be positively noted, these women's tag team titles feel a lot more important now that Jade and Bianca hold them. I can actually see them being on a lot more PLEs with these titles, regardless whether it's on the main show or the kickoff.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it's the first time they've been involved anywhere near a premium live event. Do you know what I mean? Normally, everyone's first title defense is on a Raw or a SmackDown. So, hey, kickoff show for pay-per-view, you're still having to perform in front of 30, 40, 50, however many thousands of people, which is more than what your TV shows get.
Absolutely, indeed. I think they're doing a great job with those championships since so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Nobody suggesting that Natty and Carmen might be the ones to do so. Of course, Carmen currently in NXT at present. I'm liking the duo of those two. And Byron has LA Knights taking that US Championship from Logan Paul. SummerSlam.
Yeah, we all do.
That in mind. SummerSlam is the time. But we'll move on then to what will be the main show, and I think there's certainly a few people in our comments probably looking forward to us talking about this one. It is Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. Of course, this is where Liv Morgan wins the Women's World Championship. And to be honest, this will be a bit of a this will be a review of two halves here for me, because I didn't enjoy the first half of this match. I don't know. I've seen them have better matches. There's no critique on one performer or another. I maybe think to myself, I looked at the weather temperature that Michael Cole described. They're wearing the outfits that they wear that they don't normally wear. Of course, we Liv Morgan with the inspired Britney Spears, oops, I did it again look there. Of course, wearing PVC. In that heat, probably is not the most comfortable. Becky Lynch looked like she was wearing the suit I probably wore to my wedding. So, I mean, it's just, how it was with the outfit choices and stuff. That was pretty awesome. But that can play a factor into this, obviously, when it comes to matches. But I did think it wasn't the best match they've ever had. I've seen other people online say differently, but we'll go into the details of what I think is the most important, which is the finish of the match, because Becky looked like she had this match won, didn't she? She got the disarmer on, and out of nowhere, she spotted Dominik Mysterio, probably his hair first, or that tash. You can't miss that tash in the room, can you? And the distraction led to the hole being broken. At this point, we see Becky kind of like, get out of here. What are you doing here? Apparently, commentary made mention as well that Dominik is there to make sure that Liv doesn't win the championship. Wink, wink. Then we see Becky go for the manhandle slam. That is countered from Liv putting into the code breaker. Dom then slides a steel chair into the ring near Becky, just to pretty much like give you a bit of thought that he's there to actually help Becky Lynch. He goes to distract the referee as well. But as Becky kind of was like, I don't need the chair. What are you doing up there? She's kind of distracted. Liv sort of runs and hits a DDT onto the chair, follows this up, then hitting Oblivion to get the win. And of course, the Women's World Championship. And obviously, we get the shot of Dominik Mysterio, easy for me to say. He screwed up just like I did there, or did he? NXT, I think first off, I want to talk about the fallout of this match, because obviously I think that's where the main detail of it is. The idea that Dominik came down, did it work for you?
No, because they've either given away what the whole story is going to be, or they just don't know what they're doing, because this logically made no sense. Dom is down there to make sure Liv doesn't win this title. Okay, so he pops up when Becky has her in the disarmer. Why? Becky's about to win. That doesn't make sense for one. Well, and then Becky decides to stop doing the disarmer to get up, and I'm like, you're literally giving away the story beat here. You are telling me what is going to happen when Rhea comes back. And I'll be honest with you, it annoyed me because it was like, it's not even like he came out at some point. Say, for instance, they're both laid out on the canvas. Becky is in a winning position, and Dom's point is I'm here to stop Liv winning this title. So why'd you come out then? Becky's about to win this match, and all you've done is become a distraction for Becky. That story beat doesn't go with me. It makes absolutely no sense. And then to top up as well, Becky has lose face. She come out and she just, you could tell we were like, obviously we all kind of know Becky's contract's up. Comes out today that they didn't want to have that title when her contract expires. Fine, understandable. But Becky comes out with loose face. And if the contract thing wasn't a thing, Becky's already told you that she's losing this match. And I was just like, oh, you've ruined it for me straight away. And yeah, there was so many flaws in the plot and the story for me that I couldn't get behind it. And then the finish, I'm sorry, this finish was so stupid. Liv runs up to Becky and Becky bends over for a DDT. No kick to the midsection, no punch to the midsection to get yourself into the position to naturally take a DDT. Becky just goes, yeah, there you go, Liv, you can DDT me now. Doesn't make sense for me, brother. I thought it was stupid, man. Like the rest of the match, I was like, this is okay. It's kind of a bang average TV match. Nothing really special. But then the story just absolutely ruined it for me.
Do you know what? You make some great points.
Sorry. And the other thing as well is it just shows that, again, Liv can't win a world title without having some sort of advantage. Because obviously the last time she wins the world title, she has the money in the bank briefcase. Oh, guess what? She's had to use a chair to beat Becky Lynch. I can understand you're probably trying to keep Becky strong, but Liv's got to get a win off her own back somewhere. And it just irritated me.
I think I agree with everything apart from the last point. The last point, I will have a counter for you, but I will say I did feel exactly the same, especially with the DDT spot, because and I actually don't blame Liv for that. I have actually a bit more. I sort of felt Becky. It was almost like I wish there was just like an extra moment, an extra camera shot of like, I don't need this chair. Like just something of a visual facial for that, because we had some great camera work in this night. We got to mention Logan Paul later on with a 360 drone.
Oh,
that was amazing. But when you look at this here and you say, right, okay, just a bit of camera work, just that extra detail, because Becky then could have tried to take the chair to throw it out where I don't need it. That's why she's bent down. But it felt like she hadn't really bent down properly. It just felt like Liv got there and Becky wasn't fully in position. That's how I kind of read it. And it just felt like it needed a kick or it needed something, because it was just like, we need to get to this transition somehow. And it just felt a bit messy. And I would agree with that. You're totally bang on with the Dominik story beat. Of course, we know deep down, like you said, you give the story away, but we know what the story is. I don't think we've got to wait long for the payoff either, because Becky has made the call already. She was yelling at Dominik Mysterio backstage, and obviously she was talking to Byron Saxton. I'm not sure what's going on with the revenge tour for Liv, with the revenge tour for Rhea, with regards of Dominik. I've got no idea with that, but I've got a rematch clause. I'm going to talk to Pierce, and I'm getting that match on Monday. It looks like we're going to get the rematch as soon as Monday Night Raw. We're not even going to have to wait till Crash at the Castle, which was originally my first thought. I was like, we'll get to the next PLE if Becky's sticking around, because I thought she probably would be around in Scotland, since that she's from Ireland, but perhaps that's not going to be the case. It looks like that we will perhaps see that Liv and Dominik, it will be done on purpose the next time, because the whole story beat is the fact that Liv doesn't need to, and this is where I'm going to make your counter argument for you for when you said Liv doesn't get it done on her own. She doesn't need to here, because the story is not about can Liv get the job done. It's about taking everything away from Rhea. She's now got the championship, and she'll have Dominik in one fell swoop, because she has two birds, one stone. And of course, we know what happens when Rhea returns. We know Liv then won't get the job done, but that's not the beat right now. The beat is Liv taking everything away from Rhea, which she will have done by taking away, obviously, the title, Dominik, perhaps even her spot in the Judgment Day.
Yeah, but this is my problem. It's like, I can understand where you're coming from, but the fact is that against both Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, who are arguably the biggest two stars in the company at the time when it happened, and now when Rhea comes back, I imagine the plot twist or the booking is going to be that Dom initially screws Rhea over, and Liv retains because of Dom screwing Rhea over. So that'll be a third time Liv's had. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you've got to let Liv win one off of her own back. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy she's champion. I'm glad she's champion. But I'm trying to compare this to someone else that I could think of that basically just like would never win a title off their own back. It's like this is essentially how Roman did all his defending against for his title. He always had interference, and we know that it just got irritating in the end. And for me, it's getting irritating with Liv. Liv's got to get a win off her own back, and it's irritating because it's like I want to see her do well. Now she's champion. I'm sure she'll have. Hopefully, Triple H is in charge. She'll have a great run. But when she wins a title, for God's sake, will someone please just let her win one for her own back and her own skill without having some sort of stupid story beat? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just griping. Like, don't get me wrong, Liv's champion. I can't really argue with that. But the other thing as well, the backstage segment with Becky and Dom. By the time they come round to that, it's 2 hours later.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Becky's been screwing at Dom for 2 hours in some random like under the stage tunnel, and I'm like, what is this about? This should be for like 5 minutes after the match. That didn't make sense. Like, what logic is there to someone having an argument for 2 hours? You just walk away, and then hey, there was one thing that got cleared up from it though. They have reinstated guaranteed rematches for people that lose championships, because that was a thing that didn't exist anymore. There was no guaranteed rematch clause. But now we know for a certain, now when you lose a title, you're guaranteed a rematch.
Absolutely. Maybe it was, or at least it's in Becky Lynch's contract. That's one thing we know for sure. Is she going to be sticking around long enough? Because that's probably the next question I'm going to ask you, actually, because Becky Lynch has called the shot for Monday Night Raw. So we know the situation with the contract. Is Becky Lynch taking a break from WWE when she loses on Raw?
I would believe so. I mean, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe there's a plot twist in there that, hey, maybe they're going to do Rhea versus Liv at Clash, and then Becky makes a comeback at Clash. Who knows? What bigger place to get a better pop than in a UK crowd? You know what I mean? So, yeah, like, I would imagine she comes back at some point in the future. Maybe she just does want to take some time off.
Maybe she does. I think there's a chance she could be. If I had my way of the booking, this is how I just would like to say things. I think that you could see the rematch here, and we see that Dominik hasn't done it by accident. He's done it on purpose. We see it's a ruse, blah, 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 blah. We know that's what's coming next. But then I'd like to see another match with Dominik in a shark cage, just because of the fact we're not seeing the shark cage for a little while. And you said that Liv then has to get it done on her own, or they have to find a way for Liv to cheat to find a way out. And if she can get the clean win over Becky, or win one more time over Becky, she would have beaten Becky 3 times, regardless of it's cheating or not. To beat Becky 3 times, I think would definitely establish her as a top champion at that point, because I don't know anyone that's beaten Becky Lynch 3 times really off the top of my head. Probably outside Charlotte Flair or someone. So I mean, I'm looking at this and thinking to myself that there are ways here, but if we look in hindsight, everyone wanted Liv to win this championship in a battle royal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was definitely the wrong play. You look at it here now, and this is why sometimes it's good just to let things breathe a little bit, because she has now won it over an established superstar, regardless of whether there was cheating or not involved. She's won it now, and the celebration's there. Our chat is celebrating, by the way. I won't be able to get all these comments up, but there were some celebrations going in here right now. Yeah, it's going to be a situation now where we're going to be having a fun story, hopefully playing out over the summer till we get Rhea's return.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's like, even commentary made the note of like, oh, she finished second in the Rumble. She finished second in Elimination Chamber. She finished second in the Battle Royal. And it's like, you're not doing anything. You're not building any vote of confidence in me to back Liv, because you're making her sound like she's second best to everyone else. And then you add that to the finish of these matches where she wins titles. Dude, in my eyes, you're not building a top star. You're just building almost an intermittent champion, someone who's just going to temporarily hold this, and like a temporary placeholder till the bigger star comes back.
I think there's an argument if Rhea had not left, then this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have had a Becky Lynch run. I don't think we'd have had a Liv Morgan run. I do think that Rhea would have kept this title all the way to next year's WrestleMania. I think Rhea's she's on a level in a booking stage right now where she's someone. The question was asked her, who could stop Bianca and Jade? Who could stop Rhea? Well, the way she was stopped was by Liv Morgan, but it was actually an injury. Yeah, it's not by winning in the match. So it's going to be fascinating to watch and see how it all plays out. But I think one thing's for sure, I think Judgment Day is going to have a very different look in a couple of months' time. I can see Rhea and Damian being the baby faces, and I can see a group of Finn Balor, Dominik Mysterio, Jade McDonough, Carlito, and Liv Morgan. It does seem like a mishmash of a Judgment Day group, but hey, it keeps people fresh and it keeps things going forward, obviously, with the current storytelling we got in WWE. Noob says that, does everyone saw Becky Lynch dressed in tuxedo? Absolutely. I made a joke about it earlier, which is very random. But I mean, they have to wear stuff, don't they? Obviously, they can't wear the usual outfits in Saudi. They have to cover from head to toe. And I've got to say, for Becky, I thought it was very creative, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I said at the start of the show, this is why I think humidity played into this show, because I imagine that sucked, wrestling in a full one piece. Do you know what I mean? Like, Bronson Reed, I felt sorry for during the IC title, because the first sort of 5-10 minutes, he just looks like he's blown out already, like he's just already get out of gas.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, let's get the star rating in for the match, because then we can just go to some comments and we can carry on.
2.25 from me. Like, I think the title change, even though it was expected, I'm just glad it's finally on Liv now, I suppose.
I will actually agree with you. I think 2.25 is a fair rating. Like I said, this match, I'm going to be open and say I've seen them have better matches. I think if you want to see a good example of it, I recommend go watch Day 1, 2022, I think it is. The match there, I think, supersedes this one. And I think around that time, Liv and Becky had some great matches around that time period. But I know for Liv Morgan fans that are watching this, you're very happy with this result compared to that result. So absolutely, we'll be celebrated. We're big happy fans of Liv Morgan. We're happy that Liv Morgan has won the championship. But we see Eric here with a comment. I just hope they don't give Becky the belt back on Raw. I would like to say I'm confident.
Not while our contract's up for expiring. They've already said they're not going to put that back on her.
Absolutely. I forget who actually wrote the comment on our predictions. I don't know if it was a short or it was our predictions podcast, but someone said it just didn't seem right that Becky would drop the belt so soon. But this is the thing. It's a bigger deal because she's not held it for very long. Becky usually holds these titles for a long time. She was the transitional champion here. So could argue that Liv still may be, because of the fact that she may lose that title further down the line to Rhea when she returns. But at least we've got probably a good 2 to 3 month storyline to play out in the meantime for it, which could be quite fun to see. Leo's in the house. Leo, I've been waiting for you when it comes to this one. He says, I believe they will keep teasing Dom and Liv for a while, and when Liv and Rhea face at SummerSlam, then we will see Dom turn on the line with Liv, and Liv beats Rhea. Could this continue story until Mania? I do think it's a better story, to be honest, than what I think is going to happen, but I actually think it's going to happen on Raw.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I think I'd rather put this on the biggest. Look, Liv's champion, make the most of it, man. Put her on the pay-per-view, get these story beats going at SummerSlam, at pay-per-views. Like, I'm saying with Leo, though. I'd have to agree. I let it build, man. Like, I don't really want this to just be blown. Like, I don't want to rush it. Do you know what I mean? There's so much time until SummerSlam, so much time until WrestleMania, and like, there's a pay-per-view every 3 weeks. Like, there's still more time to build this.
Absolutely. I should stress one thing so quickly for the people watching as well. What I predict to what I want can be two very different things. If I predict so, it's because what I think is actually going to happen. It doesn't always mean that's, he wants that to happen. So what I think is going to happen. I always give you what I predict, because a lot of the time, if I think it's going to happen, I think that's what I should share with you. But at the same time, if I want what's going to happen, Leo, I agree with you. I want what you're saying there, but I still think it will happen on Raw, because that's the prediction. Pierre has taken issue with you, NXT. He says, you want Liv to win the title on her own? Why would she have won the title yesterday on her own if she's a heel? Heels cheat all the time.
Heels don't necessarily cheat all the time. Sometimes they can just be better than the face. Like I said, I think it was done more to protect Becky, and you've not done that for me with this match.
I think this is where it comes down to the type of heel. Gunther's a heel. He doesn't cheat. If you think of Bron Breakker, he's a heel. Doesn't really cheat. But Liv, she may be one that cheats, and we do get heels that cheat. Roman, as you mentioned, Aaron, was a fine example of that. Liv may prove to be just in that same category. And well, to be fair, if you're taking after Roman Reigns, probably not a bad thing, because he held the title for a very long time. But we'll move on in the meantime, and we will go and talk about the Intercontinental Championship match, which took place next week. Of course, Sami Zayn did retain the championship, defeating Bronson Reed and Chad Gable, of course, to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Fun match, this one, between these three, with the triple threat match. We saw, obviously, Chad Gable made the entrance with Otis and Maxine Dupree, of course, who was pretty much dressed like an Oscar. Pretty much told her to get to the back straight away, because Otis was there to execute the plan, and Chad said to do that when the time is Right. Some of my favorite spots in this match was the double ankle lock that was being done. I thought that was a really fun
Correct.
looking spot. Sammy Story hit a blue thunder bomb on Bronson Reed as well, and eventually hitting it on the third attempt was pretty cool. Reed hitting a suicide dive. I mean, just seeing the big man move like that is pretty impressive, let's be fair. With the fact that Gable as well lands the double stacked German suplex on both Reed and Zayn just defies my eyesight, to be fair. I was wanting to book the opticians when I saw that one. Bronson was on the floor, and that's when the plan begins. Otis clotheslines Bronson, taking him out. Obviously, then we see Sami thrown to the floor by Chad Gable, telling Otis to do the same thing. But remember, Otis did this on Raw to Sami and then apologized for his actions backstage. And, well, he refused to clothesline Sami. Chad got noticed his face. He pushed him. He slapped him. He held Sami. He refused to do it for a little while longer. And then, well, he pretty much insisted he would do it. And, of course, Sami ducked and he clotheslined Chad Gable instead, to a massive pop from the Saudi crowd. And let's be fair, the Saudi crowd were pretty awesome during this show. We saw Bronson Reed sort of make his way back into the ring. Sami got back into the ring as well. Bronson was a bit dazed, so Sami hits a louver kick, and Bronson Reed did take the pinfall 1, 2, 3. This was, I thought, a lot of fun. I thought this was awesome. I thought the right result, the right person pinned. This can segue as well Chad Gable to be feuding with Otis in the meantime to get rid of the Alpha Academy and start building how we're going to get Team Gable with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, which, let's be fair, we've been discussing for months. It's certainly wheels in motion. This was a unique story beat and a fun story beat and a needed story beat here, and Sami Zayn lives to fight another day as Intercontinental Champion.
Why, oh, why would you book Jason Jordan to be Kurt Angle's illegitimate son when you had Chad Gable? Doesn't make sense. Like the amount of commentary, last night that played it, that everything played into it, they were just like, it was like you could have so had the best story if he was Kurt Angle's illegitimate child. But yeah, I digress. Why would you fly Maxine halfway around the world just to send her out the back on the entrance? You just wouldn't have bought the plane ticket, would you? No, there's a bit of kayfabe. You just wouldn't have. Look, you've flown her halfway around the world to embarrass her. That's a really cruel thing to do. You just wouldn't have bought you would have told her to go to the airport, and then she shows up and she ain't got a plane ticket. I think that would have been enough. But flying her to the other side of the world, a bit extreme. But dude, Chad Gable rocking the Rocky Balboa black and gold like bathrobe, robe was, do you know what I mean? I thought was great. He getting the Kurt Angle you suck chance. I was like, dude, why didn't they make him Angle's son? Again, would have been perfect. Sami Zayn, forget Mansoor and all these other people that come from that side of the world. Sami Zayn seems to be the local hero when it comes to Saudi Arabia because, my God, he's booked like a massive superstar there. Like, just trying to think of my other couple of notes. Yeah, that's it earlier. Humidity and temperature. I feel Bronson Reed suffered badly at the start of this match. Like, he just felt like he was blown out straight away. But the Blue Thunder Bomb, dude, it's the most devastating move that has never won a match. I absolutely love it. And the fact that Sami can never get a pinfall from it. It's like, what's the one Baron Corbin does?
Deep Six.
Deep Six. It's such a great move. Never gets a pinfall. Those two on par for me. Great moves. Double German suplex, double ankle lock. Great spots in the match. Otis with the best internal dilemma. Like, dude, he was fantastic. And I think I think maybe 50-50 between both of us from the prediction show. I think what we both predicted kind of happened in this. And like, we got the best of both worlds, really. And I thought it was great, man. And even after the match ended, and you can just see Chad staring at Otis. Oh, dude, it was so good, man. Like, I genuinely just cannot wait for Raw now to see what happens going forward with that because it's so good. I thought this was fantastic, man. I thought it was so good.
Yeah, this is very well put together, a very good story beat. And the thing is as well, like we could talk about the idea of like Chad Gable's heel run is being booked really well. He's becoming, like you say, he's a despisable person flying someone halfway around the world to go, off you go. We don't even need you here. It's a very horrible thing to do. But at the same time, Otis is getting a lot of praise and a lot of people behind him. Like, Otis can come out of this as a big deal as well. It's not just one person in the academy. Everyone can rob and get off in a good way on the other side of the Alpha Academy. So it's looking like a promising future for everybody here. Obviously, Bronson Arena unfortunately has to go back to the drawing board. Sami Zayn will probably move on to something else in the meantime with the IC title. I think Chad Gable will look to get back to it, but I'm hoping it's going to be like with AJ Styles, where they're going to say you can't just get the opportunity; you have to earn it again if you want to go for it. And I think that can just keep Chad Gable in the background until we get to Toronto for Money in the Bank, because I still stand with my prediction. I think that's where Sami Zayn is losing the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think it will happen at Clash of the Castle. I can even see Sami potentially defending the title against someone else at Clash of the Castle just to break things up a little bit. But yeah, all in all, great stuff indeed. Like I say, the Alpha storyline is superb. The match was superb. What would be the star rating for you for this one?
I mean, I'm hoping this builds Chad Gable into a main eventer, because if he can become the new Kurt Angle, that's something that, do you know what I mean, that it'll exceed any sort of level I think that's ever been predicted for Chad Gable since he's been on the main roster. For me, may have slightly overbooked this, but I enjoyed it so much. I went 4 stars. I thought this was great. This was match of the night for me.
Match of the night. Wow, fantastic for me. And do you know what? I can see the reasons why in a way, but I do have a match that I've gone higher for it. But I've gone for 3.5. I think this is a good match, and yeah, highly recommend people to go and watch this one if they get the opportunity. But in the meantime, most people are still talking.
Not going to talk about Barrettology. I tell you what, I'll give this a slight bit of props. They carried on making this tournament feel special throughout the show. Like the reason why you are watching this pay-per-view, and like with Wade Barrett doing the breakdowns of how they got to these finals, I just thought it was quality, man. Just a good way to, again, build the emphasis behind this entire pay-per-view.
Absolutely. And the fact as well here, the Charlie You Suck was pretty cool for Chad Gable. But of course, Pierre, echoing the sentiments we've said here, that Chad Gable will win it eventually because of the Creed brothers. We've been holding on to it. Raw after Mania. We've gone for Backlash. We've said it will come soon, but Toronto, I think, is the perfect
justice for Chad Gable.
Justice, and he will get his justice if he continues the way it's going. He will be champion soon. But speaking of someone that's I said we're champion, but now actually a queen. Nia Jax defeating Lyra Valkyria in a fun little match. This one, a bit of a David versus Goliath story, you could say, but David doesn't win this one. Nia's dominating until she goes for the Annihilator on Lyra, because Lyra rolls to the apron. So Nia adapts and goes there to hit it there, but instead she misses and goes onto the hardest part of the ring. I'm surprised she didn't shout out my hole, to be honest.
I genuinely thought the same.
It's the first thing I was thinking. But Lyra then attempts a drop kick through the ropes, but Nia catches her. Lyra reverses this into a bulldog on the floor. Lyra becomes desperate, of course, with Nia being so dominant, and the attempts of Annihilator as well. Lyra gets up, kicks the foot, leaving Nia hanging from the rope. One of my big gripes in pro wrestling. I hate when a wrestler just hangs onto the ropes. Does a running double foot stomp for a 2 count. Nia goes for a Samoan drop for the second rope as we get into the finish. Lyra counters, and of course she gets back into the ring attempting a power bomb. As she's attempting to do that, Nia decides this is the perfect time to hit the Annihilator and just squashes Lyra. It's amazing. I think this finish is like 11 out of 10. It's that amazing. And obviously
I thought she was dead.
It was sold so well, and it was hit so well. Nia was crowned after the match by Triple H. You can see there was a bit of emotion. It felt a little bit there with what Triple H was telling Nia, but Nia quickly got back into character. Kayla Braxton looking to do the interview and pretty much just stopped her with the congratulations. People aren't happy for her. She's happy. Fans are angry. They're going to be more angry. She's going to be more happy because she's going to be WWE champion. I think women's champion, of course, at SummerSlam. It looks like Nia Jax versus Bayley is on. I cannot wait for Queen Nia Jax. But to be honest, yeah, this match for me, I thought was a fun little story the way they told it. I thought it was a couple of unique spots, particularly with the use of the Annihilator miss, obviously on the apron, and just the way they finished the match for me was easily best finish of the night for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I genuinely got worried when she hit the apron, and I was like, oh no, please don't go with my whole thing. Please, for the love of God, don't go with it. But do you know what I mean? It's almost like it's just a wind-up thing there, just to wind fans up, because if you know kind of thing. It's a David versus Goliath match, which it's really hard to break the barrier or break the mold when Goliath's meant to win. But I thought this was well put together. Just a great showcase for Lyra to display what she can do. Ultimately, obviously, like we said in the predictions, that yeah, Nia's obviously going to win this just because it kind of makes sense for story-wise. And dude, that Annihilator was just unbelievable. Like, honestly, the first time I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, thinking like the way Nia just sits on her arms crossed, and I'm like, oh my God, she's dead. She's dead. There's no way she's getting up from it. That's insane. But dude, what a finish. A great way to finish it, man. I mean, like I said, you try and break the mold somehow. That's the way to do it with that finish because it was great. I can't hear you, dude.
Sorry, I may have muted the mic, but yeah, I really enjoyed the creativity in this match. I think that's what really made it stand out for me. A few spots that I feel like you can watch a lot of matches and say like, there's moves I've seen before, but different combinations. Here was some things I've generally not seen before, and I thought that's what made them really fun. But yeah, for me, I think this was a really well executed match, really fun finish, and for me, I've got to say this is like a 3.25 star for me for this one, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, I only went with a 2 3/4. Like, I thought that this was, I thought it was. Like I said, it's hard to break the mold of a David versus Goliath where Goliath wins, but yeah, I went with 2 3/4. I thought that it was a well constructed match for what it was, but it's again hard to break the mold when that's what it is. But yeah, yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I enjoyed it. So, do you know what I mean? Nia's being booked properly now. Nia's being booked how she should have been in the first place. She's starting to become a monster. I'm expecting big things out of this character now for the next 12 months. And like, hopefully it starts with beating Bayley if Bayley is champion by the time we get to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I almost feel like I want to see Nia win that title when she gets the opportunity, because she's done great work since she's come back to the company. I don't think that can be argued. I think that she's on one of the runs of her career. She's beaten Becky Lynch. She's took Nia to the limit. She's main evented PLEs. Now she's Queen of the Ring. Like, she's also beaten Jade Cargill, even though it was under probably suspicious circumstances with the disqualification. But still, Nia deserves her flowers. She's got a crown instead. And like you say, I think she deserves a championship to go with it.
Yeah, I thought she deserved it. And when she said, "You're not happy for me," and I was like, "I'm happy for you. I think you deserved it."
We're getting our acknowledgement there. It's like, yeah, me too. Shout out to Pierre, by the way, says what an incredible finish, and shout out as well to Devlin the Tribal Chief. Fantastic YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to Devlin the Tribal Chief. It says Nia and Lyra had a hell of a match. They certainly did indeed. Pierre said, who better than to crown Queen and King of the Ring than the King of Kings? Absolutely, indeed. Not fully confirmed that it'll be Nia versus Bayley at SummerSlam just yet, but I think it's a safe bet that it will happen. It looks like, and I'll give an early prediction away now. I think it's going to be Bayley versus Piper Niven at Clash at the Castle, Scotland.
Okay, that makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, but it's obviously card subject to change.
Yeah, always. And we see Eric here says, see big things for Lyra. I see her getting a multiple Royal wins and a bunch of title wins. To be fair, Lyra, we'll just give a shout out because we spoke very heavily about Nia Jax, but Lyra, she's been on the main roster for like a month. She's obviously done work in NXT UK. What a start for her. Obviously, she's beat Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Zoe Stark, got to the final here, been on a PLE, and I mean, obviously, she played her role superbly. I thought that her ring attire that was put together with like the Ravens vibe there, that was awesome as well. So for me, I see a very bright future for Lyra Valkyria as well, and the fact that she's on the same brand as Becky Lynch as well, I can see that the man will probably put a good word in, and definitely
see a tag team run with him too.
I can as well. Perhaps a tag team title run could just be the ones that could beat Jade and Bianca long term down the line. You never know.
Yep.
You never know. Anytime, dude. Anytime. Honestly, great content. Subscribe now. Or at the end of this video, because we want you to stay with us until I'm sure, Devin, you don't mind. Keep everyone here until the end of the video, then make sure to go and subscribe. But we will move on in the meantime, and we will talk about the Ring General, Gunther, becoming King of the Ring, defeating Randy Orton as well. But everything about this match was superb, apart from the 1, 2, 3. But I mean, some would say it's a botch, but I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit on this, if you give me a little bit of time. We'll go into the match details first, obviously. I like the fact with the ring psychology from Randy to start things off after his 20-minute entrance. The fact that he was playing the Gunther role, it felt almost the way that he was like, starting this match off. It felt like Gunther was second-guessing himself. Kind of like that little storyline beat, because Gunther obviously has been, he's been the longest-reigning Intercontinental champion, but he's not been in the main event scene. This is arguably his first kind of main event match he's been doing. So I liked that was there because, it took a little while for Gunther to get into this match and take over. And of course, I mean, you're only going to escape a Gunther chop for so long. And obviously, Gunther hit a couple of those on Randy's shoulder, obviously, which was hurt for a long while. Obviously, attacking Randy's back as well, which obviously kept Randy out for a long time. One thing I noticed, because commentary didn't make mention of this, but I noticed it, so we're going to mention it here. Randy Orton tweaked the knee, not when he went for the power slam. It was an arrest hold when Gunther was going for Randy's shoulder. You could just see an ouch, a genuine ouch from Randy, and the tweak of the knee, and just a completely random accidental point. But like I say, commentary only makes mention of it when we see him try to go for a power slam, which of course Gunther doesn't go into, and that's when they assume he tweaked the knee. Randy eventually hits the RKO, and Gunther manages to roll out of the ring. Randy does his back suplex to Gunther onto the announcers table on 3 different occasions. Amazing. Gunther's thrown back into the ring, but Randy is struggling to get back in. Obviously, his leg is playing up this much at this point, either selling to perfection or genuinely hurt. Gunther does a drop kick to that knee when he does eventually try to get back into the ring, applies a single leg Boston Crab. Again, it's done on 3 separate occasions with Randy refusing to give up, but you could feel the pain he was in. Randy eventually does hit another RKO, but when he goes for that pin attempt, no leverage or weight of that left leg can be used, which of course means not a full attempt on the pin to keep Gunther down. Gunther kicks out of 2, and then he goes for a roll-up for a 3 count. However, I think it's quite clear to see on the replay, Randy's right shoulder was off the mat. But still, regardless, excellent match between Gunther and Randy.
So you say that, it's not Gunther's best match in my opinion. Like,
no,
again, humidity played into it, and there were some botches. Like obviously when Gunther did his dive off the top rope and he almost fell off the top rope, and he got very lucky with it. The injury to Randy, because obviously that we do have to play that into the fact that it kind of does affect how the match flow goes. Don't get me wrong, still a good match, still highly entertaining, still worth a watch. Always good to see Gunther go. And again, it's always good to see Gunther go up against someone like Randy Orton. Like you said, it's his first real test with someone as obviously legendary and obviously 15-time world champion that Randy is, or whatever, however many he's won. Yeah, this is just a great job in building Gunther. Even after when he won as well, the fact that he doesn't put the crown on Steve is such a great thing, because I want this guy to absolutely destroy that crown, and so just completely like disown the throne, just abolish it, just be like, oh, do you not need a crown? Gunther, I'm the ring general, do you know what I mean? And just I'm so looking forward to what's going to happen with that going forward. As for the finish, I mean, you kind of have to partially blame Gunther, because it's Gunther that lifts Randy off the canvas. And then there's a digital exclusive afterwards that Triple H says, look, I was out there because I didn't see it from where I was sitting. Convenient. We've all said that before. But the referee's decision is final. And it's kind of almost turning around and saying it's the ref's fault. Dude, no matter what way you looked at that pinfall, dude, there's different astronauts on the International Space Station that will tell you his shoulders are off the bit mat. Ain't no way in hell anyone didn't see that, and it does ultimately sour the match for me. I'm sure they'll probably use this as some sort of story beat, try and get a rematch out of it. Probably, well, they can't really because we're on 2 different shows, but I'm sure that will be a future story beat whenever these 2 cross paths again, whether it be the Rumble, whether it be next year when the brands cross over. But yeah, ultimately, referee's decision is final. Gunther is your king of the ring, and yeah, I'm looking forward to him like just completely destroying that crown on Monday night.
Absolutely, because the thing is, it can be like, the crown doesn't define me as the king of the ring. This ring defines me as the king of the ring. When I'm in this squared circle, that's the moment that you know that I'm the one that runs this place. But yeah, I'm with you. And obviously, look, this is what I'm going to say. The match is downgraded for me because of the finish, because there's no way it means about it. You want to see the shoulders pinned to the mat when a match is finished. Yeah. But I said I wanted to play devil's advocate, just mainly because I just wondered, what if this was a way where Randy Orton still gets a title shot at SummerSlam against Cody, because effectively he wasn't actually beat. That title shot is on the line. Gunther, yes, he's won King of the Ring. He gets his shot on Raw, but Cody needs an opponent on SmackDown. We need to get the Cody Randy Orton story going. If we want Cody to have this story beat, if you want going into the summer, because of the fact that maybe a Roman Reigns isn't returning it, or a People's Champion is actually going to be the WrestleMania match and not the SummerSlam match, Randy then fits in perfectly for SummerSlam. So it's interesting of how it's going to be and how it's going to go down. But that's me playing devil's advocate. But I do agree with you. It's not Gunther's best match. Absolutely not. He's got some 5-star matches. Absolutely. But this one for me, comfortably, I'm going to say would have been a 3.75 for me. But because of that finish and because it was botched, I've gone with a 3.25.
I've gone with 3.5. I think I still enjoyed it. Like I said, it's only really the finish that really soured it for me. I mean, injuries are a common occurrence, and look, Gunther still hit that dive off the top rope, so I can't. Do you know what I mean? Just because he's nearly slipped, but it's botchy. But yeah, I still went with 3.5. I wrote the same thing down as well, and I went, by the way, with the whole crown thing, and I said the fact that he can turn around and say the crown doesn't make me, I make the crown. Another reason for him to just get rid of the thing. But yeah, I'm the same as you. But the only thing with the Randy booking, the problem is it's Cody. Cody's not the kind of guy that you need an excuse to challenge him. Cody would just be like, you just ask, and I'll say yeah. And I'm sure that they'll try and make it some sort of story beat where Randy can challenge Cody. But I'm pretty sure if Randy just went, "Can I challenge you?" Cody would be like, "Yeah, all right." He's just faced Logan Paul, no questions asked. You know what I mean?
It's totally right, but we need more for it. It's legacy. We're going back to 2008. We're not going to get Ted DiBiase Jr. I know that. We're not even getting the other dude that was in the group that's effectively part of the bloodline. I forget his name off the top of my head, but I believe he was related to Haku at the time. But obviously, we've got Tama Tonga and Tangaloa there. But at the same time, one thing I will say to finish off, I know like Randy, it looked like he was actually hurt, if not selling like an absolute trooper, because he did the same at Elimination Chamber, and it looked like it was, he was all right afterwards and continued on to WrestleMania, no problems. So I just feel that with me, when I've looked at matches previously, sometimes the pain factor, it adds to the quality, and I felt to myself I was feeling those moves more because I genuinely believe that Randy was hurt. So credit to Randy if he's selling it, and if he is hurt, I wish him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think is because of that reason is why they're going to go straight back to this Kevin Owens bloodline storyline, because putting Randy in tag team matches is the easiest way to protect him. And yeah, who doesn't want to see more of Kevin Owens on their TV?
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more KO, to be fair. I'm so happy to see him return on Friday Night SmackDown. It's the King General indeed. Yeah. We've got Devin here saying, I realize, love this with Randy. They told us a chapter storytelling match with 3 fire emojis. I have to agree, it was a very well told story for us. This would have been my match of the night had the finish not been the finish. That's pretty much where I would go with this.
Yeah, no, I thought he was going to change the subject, but it's fine. I was just going to say this off topic because I just realized I've run my notes what the next thing is, that this show in general felt very, let's promote every other show we've got going on the card. Can we just take a second to talk about why Michael Cole was so amped about where SummerSlam next year is going to be? Because he kept banging on, and he was banging on about 2026. I wonder where 2025 is going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where's it going to be, Michael? I've got a feeling that's coming to probably it's going abroad that next year. I think whether that be London or wherever, I've got a feeling that's what's happening with that one. They're trying to gas it up.
Yeah, I got the same vibe. I was like, is there a chance it could come to the UK? But then I also thought, well, we are in Saudi right now. Would it be too hot to be there in July, August? I guess it might be, but I don't know what the weather temperatures are like. But it was hyping up a lot where it would be in 2025, and obviously they are there now. So, but I agree with you. I have a feeling it could be international next year. The last SummerSlam before a two-night event, I have a feeling like it could be international. We'll have to wait and see. But speaking of SummerSlam, PS suggesting that potentially we have King Gunther versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Possibly, although we do know now that Damian Priest is going to be facing Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle Scotland. It is confirmed via Triple H. Your thoughts of that match being announced and made official here?
It's amazing how commentary announced that Nia Jax was going to face Bayley at SummerSlam, but when Gunther wins, he's going to face the world champion at SummerSlam. I think we all know who's winning at Clash, and I think, like I think I said in the the prediction show, I think it will more likely be a triple threat between the three, because that way you can kind of protect some people, and maybe the title doesn't change hands. Maybe Gunther wins it. I don't know. It'll be fun to see, but I can see a triple threat at SummerSlam.
I was convinced Drew was winning at Clash. I'm wondering about the CM Punk card.
Don't do it to me. Don't tell me Drew ain't winning in Scotland. I will not have it. We didn't get it in Wales. If it doesn't happen in Scotland, because you know Piper Niven ain't going to win in Scotland. If one of them two don't win, I tell you what, that building is going to be burnt to the ground that night, because there are going to be a load of angry fans that are going to burn it to the ground.
That's why they've only letting a few Scottish in. I don't. They might just upset all of them. If they get Isla Dawn and Alba Fire in the card to lose as well, it's not going to go well, is it?
Well, so, why not? Exactly. What they're going to lose the tag team title match. Yeah, of course, because you know that's going to happen now.
Absolutely. There's a chance Drew could win, but I have a feeling CM Punk might just be in attendance. Maybe he goes face to face with Drew. Maybe it's for Money in the Bank. We've been there before with CM Punk and Money in the Bank.
First ever three-time winner for the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, now that's an idea. That is an idea.
No, because you're stealing my Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens winning it in Toronto moment. Don't do it to me.
C-Nation says, while some people switched to Randy Orton as their prediction after the SummerSlam World title announcement, I stayed with Gunther as my prediction. I did the same, but I must admit, I put a bit of seed of doubt, and I think that added to the quality of the match. I liked the fact that I was like, it wasn't clear that Gunther was winning. So yeah, for me, I was quite happy to feel like Randy could win.
The best matches are always the ones where you don't know who's going to win.
Absolutely, indeed. There's a really good dream match. Want to see Gunther versus Seth Rollins one day? Absolutely. I'm not always going to call him King Gunther, but yeah, we'll do King Gunther for tonight as for this video. C-Nation says they may run back Orton versus Gunther at Clash of the Castle. This certainly may do. Gunther had the show-stealing match last time we did Clash of the Castle, so you never know. He may do so as well once again.
They're on different shows, though. There's no logical reason why they'd rerun it.
Yeah. Maybe it could be a case for who gets the title shot, not the crown.
That still doesn't make sense, because they're both on different shows. They face different champions. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. We have to wait. The referee screwed up. Triple H is right.
Yeah.
VS says King Gunther never wore the crown on his head. Absolutely. And CD mentioned the same here as well. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it fits him perfectly to not have the crown. So yeah, absolutely. I think that it's the right move that he will ditch the crown probably on Raw. Two-Sweet Common House, like we do, versus with friends with a ref in the Indies. He thinks that the finish may have been Randy's fault. Stuff happens, I guess. And thank you for checking us out while you're watching an indie show. I hope you're enjoying yourself, having fun. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that these things, they do happen. That's the thing. It's part of what it is. Eric says we're suggesting we're wanting King Woods, and again, King of the Ring moment potentially at some point down the road. I don't know if I need to see it twice, to be fair.
No, I think it's a good way of building up someone. I think there's ever been a two-time winner of King of the Ring, has there? There's no reason to, is there?
Bret Hart.
What did you say?
Bret Hart won.
Oh, Bret Hart, well, there you go. Oh, yeah, there's no reason to, man. Just use it to build someone else. Give one of the little guys a chance, you know? Just like Man United winning the FA Cup. It's always nice to see the little teams win something every once in a while.
Absolutely. Still going to sack their manager. Blasphemy. Carl says, yeah, I agree. I still think Randy gets to Cody. I think it will be the case. And I can see Gunther being like an old-fashioned king to carry his crown in his hands. Fair enough. I mean, it could be.
Nope. He's going to be a William Regal. He's not going to need a crown, a cape, a scepter, nothing. He's going to be a William Regal style King of the Ring.
There you are. CD reckons that actually Randy didn't win this because they want Sheamus to have the full Grand Slam with the King of the Ring involved. But Edge technically is the first person, but he held the WCW United States Championship while it was with WWE. It still counts. Also suggesting McIntyre versus Gunther for SummerSlam. Eric suggesting SummerSlam in Japan next year. Would not be against it, not going to lie.
Crazy airtime zone. That's the only thing. For one of their big four, that'd be mad. It'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning for them. Man, do it, man. That'd be fine.
Yeah, that'd be fine. CD wants Rollins versus Punk at SummerSlam. I think Punk is coming for Drew first, but I think Rollins will be a target later down the line.
That's the main match.
That is the main match, I think, as well. Drew has to win at Clash. Well, maybe not, but I really wanted to, says Kyle. Look, to be fair, again to predictions, I want Drew to win it. I want Judgment Day to cost Damien at this show. But if CM Punk's there, may not happen. We'll have to wait and see. But Silas just says, to be fair, they did do Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship with the Royal Rumble, and they were on different brands. Absolutely, the draft doesn't always necessarily mean anything. And Eric meant when Roman smashed Wood's crown. Fair enough. I understand where you're coming from, Eric. Yeah, that is. Sometimes we're that far behind the comments that when we get to it, we don't connect with it, and that's probably why. So we apologize for that. Anyway, we're going to go on into what was the main event of this show. Cody Rhodes defeating Logan Paul to retain the undisputed WWE Championship. Of course, Logan Paul did vow he would not use brass knuckles. Oh, no, he wouldn't. And of course, he gave them to Michael Cole on SmackDown to the point Michael Cole actually showed them off at commentary that he had them. Why do you still have them there with you on commentary? It's like he's going to give them away at some point.
Foreshadowing, I thought.
It was a bit foreshadowing, but I did like the fact he was teasing the idea of hitting Corey Graves with it. He got a little bit salty, Michael Cole. I felt he'd had one or two drinks too early. By the time we got to that main event, it was getting a bit rowdy, wasn't he?
Just a bit, yeah. Like I said, there was a load of things that I felt like at this point when they showed him with the knuckles, I was like, this show is very foreshadowing for things that are going to be or are soon to happen in the WWE. And I just thought, honestly, that was one of them. And I'm glad that they didn't actually come into effect, because I was like, oh, wow, something I thought was foreshadowing didn't happen.
Absolutely. Well, Cody took advantage of Logan on the floor as we go into the detail match. We're about 6-7 minutes into the match, and obviously Logan's Prime group, his cronies were there handing Logan a Prime bottle, but it backfired as Cody kind of used it and smacked it in Logan's face, which upset one of the Prime people, and he pushed Cody, so Cody kind of threw him over the barricade. This led to Cody sort of chasing him down to the other side, referee getting involved, and of course, while no one's looking, the other Prime person handed Logan some brass knuckles. You couldn't have guessed it, could you? Cody then jumps using the steel steps, and gets actually brass knuckles into the stomach. This leads to Michael Cole, we mentioned him getting rowdy, yelling at Logan Paul, calling him a loser, to the point that Logan was going to go after Michael Cole. It felt like he was coming out of retirement. Corey Graves had to make the save. And then we see Cody does a dive to Logan on the floor. Obviously, by the time that Logan got back into it, it's enough time for Cody to recover, apparently. Cody does the bionic elbow and a figure four to Logan. He then attempts a vertebraker, which Logan reverses, hits a crossroads, which I thought was an awesome spot, gets a 2 count. Logan clears the announcer's table of Cole and Graves. She says, so you're not going to need all the stuff, being a bit salty back. Goes for a pedigree, calling it that it's going to be the Logan Paul Levesque error. Cody reverses this and lands a Cody cutter using the barricade to put them on the table. Logan then about to be counted out, but Cody stops the count. He wants the match to finish in the ring. Babyface. Logan then gets one shot punch in, gets his punch in, and then puts Cody on the table. And this is when we get to see the drone do the 360 of Logan Paul before he jumps and does the frog splash through the table. I've got to say very quickly, Kevin Dunn, I don't miss you. Ref splashes to the corner by both Cody and Logan. The vertebraker is then done by Cody, but the referee is out. Logan gets the advantage back by hitting a low blow. He then goes to get the brass knuckles, which of course were put back in his pants once he had them. But the guest ring announcer, who I hope I'm going to get this name right, it's possible I'm going to butcher it, Ibrahim Al-Jahib, pulls Logan's leg. Logan then kicks him down. Screams, "Who the hell are you?" Turns to Cody, looks to use the brass knuckles. Cody actually blocks it and says, "I'm Cody Rhodes,
I'm
bitch."
Cody Rhodes, bitch.
Yeah, love it. Hits 3 crossroads and gets the 3 count. It's like a WWE 2K24 special to finish off the match. And it was like SummerSlam 2015 all over again with Jon Stewart helping someone win the championship in a WWE Championship, United States Championship match. But Cody, of course, only retaining his championship, not winning Logan Paul's championship. But local celebrity helps Cody win. This is massively overbooked. I'm not going to lie, this match. It's complete bonkers. But you know what? I was thoroughly entertained watching it, and it's my match of the night.
This was my second best match of the night. Like, this was close to be my match of the night. I had a couple of gripes with it. Like, I don't know whether Logan Paul was trying to be a different kind of character tonight. Like, yeah, he was trying to be more heelish. Like, obviously, the whole thing with Michael Cole. Like Michael Cole becoming public enemy number one against another wrestler, first Bailey, now Logan Paul. The thing I would recommend him never doing again is that, Cody, you're going to break my leg when he's in the figure four, because it's kind of like that's an audible that you really don't need when you're watching pro wrestling. Kind of like takes the world of pro wrestling and just makes it not so entertaining to watch when you do stuff like that. But from start to finish, very scrappy, I thought, in places, but thoroughly entertaining. The video package before, which was obviously what happened on SmackDown, I believe. It's just some of the segments from the SmackDown the night before. I honestly believe that Logan Paul will be WWE champion or World Heavyweight champion at some point within the next 2 to 3 years. Like, I just think he's got it in him, and I think they have a lot of confidence in him. And that's that whole promo with Cody, and the fact that he says, when you start doing this full time and stop treating it like whatever, and you take it seriously. And I was like, I can honestly see him being world champion in the next couple of years. The other thing as well, no prime ring mat tonight. Only noticed it in the main event. Shows that I didn't miss it. But yeah, I was like, oh, Logan Paul, no prime ring mat. But anyway, the slingshot clothesline into the car. Oh, beautiful. Chef's kiss was a great moment for itself. The 360 drone shot, like you said, Kevin Dunn, don't miss you. Cody hitting a vertebrae car, just great. And the interference, my brain went numb for a minute, and I was like, didn't they do this last time? And then I had to go back and look at Crown Jewel from 23, and it was like, no, it was a Grayson Waller effect where the same guy interferes and does a bad people's elbow. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Then I just honestly thought they'd done the same thing 2 years in a row. But dude, I enjoyed this from start to end. It is thoroughly overbooked, but it's entertaining, and I can't really complain about that. Like, Logan Paul gets his social, like, what do you call it? His viral moment with the 360 drone shot. Dude, just great stuff and really entertaining.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's entertainment from start to finish. And I think one thing I can give a bit of credit to Logan Paul is I called the guy that interfered at the end the local celebrity or celebrity involved. Logan Paul's a wrestler at this point because he's got it all nailed down. The guy has got the look, he has got the in-ring ability, he outshines a
His
lot of the
ring gear was
roster.
immense.
Yeah, the ring gear is immense. The attitude, the promo, like he just gets it. And regardless of if you
Yeah.
like him, you loathe him, it doesn't matter. He's here to stay, and he deserves to stay because he's very good at what he does. And I agree with you. Within the next 2 to 3 years, Logan Paul will hold one of the world championships. It's just too soon at this point, but probably when he does win it, it probably will be one of these Saudi shows.
I'm telling you now, I honestly think if it's not one of these Saudi shows, he's a future Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah.
And I
can see
think that will be social media gold for him to be carrying around a Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm still waiting for his custom US title because, he needs a Maverick one because,
Mm.
he needs a giant, well, not that it's already got a giant eagle on it, but, he needs his own custom one for that. But give him that briefcase, and then people have to start realizing that at some point this guy will cash in and win. And I think that almost in turn then draws more eyes to the product, because if you've got a guy like Logan Paul going around everywhere carrying a Money in the Bank briefcase now, and he could cash in any minute, it's just going to draw eyes to the product, man. And that's going to what they're going to want to do.
I really liked that idea because I even wondered if he could be a Royal Rumble winner at one point. But the thing is, though, Money in the Bank, like you said, there's so much more money, I suppose, in the idea of him
Yeah.
having the briefcase. Like the longevity of the idea that people would want to tune in to see that, I think works. Obviously, the run to WrestleMania, and it's the biggest time of the year anyway. So, you're putting more eyes and more money, I suppose, at a different point. Does Logan add to the value on the road to WrestleMania? Possibly, but probably not much more when he's already probably going to be on the card. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I think you make an amazing point with the idea of Money in the Bank, and I think could be a good way for him to go down with it, to be fair. But yeah, Logan was exceptional. Cody was, exceptional as well in this match. He's obviously
Cody.
He's main eventing shows. He's the company guy. He's the face of I would say the face that runs the place. But I suppose the big question I have for you, and this may lead into the answer to this next question: where does Cody go next?
So what's next on the calendar?
Clash of
Berlin.
the Castle.
was it Clash of the Castle? And then it's what?
Then we got Money in the Bank. And then we got
Money in the
SummerSlam.
Bank, SummerSlam, then Bash in Berlin.
Yes.
So Clash at the Castle. I'm trying to think who's on the card now. You need someone. I wouldn't be against them doing Logan Paul again, if I'm honest. Like, do you know what I mean? If they can find a way around it, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. And I think if you put Logan Paul in front of that UK crowd, he'll get some great heat from it.
Absolutely. He would get a lot of heat. So I wonder if AJ Styles is going to find a way to get a rematch, because he said time's not on his side, and the fact he's not going to be giving it, I wonder if he's going to find a way to make the match happen. Be interesting to see with SmackDown what's going to be this week, but I don't see any obvious challengers. I don't think the Bloodline are going to come searching for Cody just yet. I think they'll play it safe. I do think when it comes to Clash, Cody's going to open the show. I don't think he's going to close it. That'll be Drew. So I think it'll be the first time in a long time that we'll see Cody opening a premium live event. So whoever it will be, someone like a rematch like an AJ Styles or Logan Paul probably isn't a bad shout.
So this is the good thing with Gunther winning King of the Ring, is we now know that we've got a 2.5, 3 month build until SummerSlam. They've got time to air out a story for whoever's going to be facing Gunther at SummerSlam. So we've got Cody though. Yeah, there's no obvious choices unless I don't even know, like Pete Dunne. Is that no? Because he's on Raw, isn't he? So yeah, that's not even a thing. Like, I'm trying to think of some sort of UK star or some sort of heel that they could throw in there that they could do it with, but at the minute I can't really see him. Hey, I'll be honest with you, I would be against not having Cody on the show. Like, obviously too much of one thing can sometimes sour you, but I think that the show's gonna be more about Drew, so I wouldn't be against them not having Cody on the show. I just very much doubt they won't have Cody on the show. Like, dude, when he comes out and you just have people singing his song, they're gonna love it, man.
It's a selling point in itself. I think people would be I mean, it's expensive enough. At least give them Cody, I'd say, for that show. But hey, let's get the star rating in for this match.
3 3/4, just underneath my match of the night, which I gave 4.
Same for me, 3 3/4, which for my star ratings is match of the night for me. Just before we go into the comments, we like to do this ourselves just as a final wrap up, if you want, when it comes to the show. So we're going to quick fire it with a few questions, and feel free, you can all join in the comments if you want to. Just add the moment so we know when we get to it. So OMG moment of the night for you.
That Annihilator. The audible gasp was horrendous for me.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that has to be the OMG, because I was thinking to myself, maybe the Logan Paul with the camera work is probably a close second, but the finish of
double German suplex was the other good one for me.
But yeah, I think Nia has to be the one. We've gone with our match of the night technically already, so for me it was the main event, Cody versus Logan.
Triple threat IC title match for me.
Let's go for it for this one. Entrance of the night.
Lyra Valkyria, I thought it was great. Just looked like $1 million.
Absolutely have to agree as well. Lyra Valkyria for that one. MVP of the night.
Otis for me. Dude, I have never... The internal dilemma that guy had, fantastic. I was sold, man. Loved it.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I do like that one. I'm trying to, because actually I don't know if I agree with Otis. I'm going to say Randy Orton, because I don't know if he's legitimately hurt or not. The fact that he still carried through that match. If he was hurt, amazing, because he went for about 10-15 minutes longer. So I'm going to say Randy Orton for that reason. And your final rating for King and Queen of the Ring 2024. So your score out of 10.
I'm trying to think across the whole show. Apart from the main of the start match, I didn't really have a lot of problems with the start. I'm probably going to say maybe 6 3/4, 7 stars for me. It's entertaining. Like, that IC title again is great. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to watching it again at some point in the future.
Absolutely, 7 out of 10 I think is a good number rating for this one, because I don't give any matches higher than that. So yeah, I think 7 out of 10 is a fair reflection. So that's our thoughts of the show. We're going to get your final thoughts of the show. Then we'll wrap things up here today. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Want to build up some likes to more of the live streams recently, because it just helps, with the channel and stuff. We want to move it forward. We want to help it grow. So I know it sounds boring, but I'm going to ask if you can, please consider hitting that like button. It really does help the channel a long way. Does Logan have to go through the table every match? Probably doesn't have to. Part of it, maybe it's part of it.
Part of his contract.
I mean, he's going to do that. The what's it called, Hangman Page's move as well. The buckshot lariat every single time as well. Although he did miss it this time, but it seems to go for it. But the camera work on that was amazing. Have to agree, indeed. Based on what happens with Logan Paul and the commentary team, does that mean we're going to get Logan Paul versus Corey Graves? Is a question there. I'm worried about Michael Cole coming out of retirement, to be honest. But look, there would be a moment where you did see yourself. Would it have made more sense for Corey Graves to have been the reason this match didn't finish with Logan Paul winning clean, or Logan Paul there rather than the local celebrity, in a way for storyline purposes, not fan purposes in attendance?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think the fact that obviously, I know like maybe 6 months ago, last year, whenever it was, I'm sure there was actually rumors of Corey wanting to compete again. So maybe that's a future thing for Logan Paul. I don't know. Oh, so actually, do you know, it just pops in mind as well. You want a future challenger you want a challenger for Clash of the Castle for Cody Rhodes. Give him Bron Breakker. He's healing it up at the minute. Oh, he's a Raw, really? God, no, forget it then. Yeah, no, like I said, if Corey Rhodes was cleared, like Pierre says here, if he was cleared to compete, maybe that's a match for him. But hey, dude, isn't Michael Cole undefeated at WrestleMania?
He is.
Maybe that's the WrestleMania match, Michael Cole, Logan Paul for the United States title.
Longest announced in the Royal Rumble match as well. It's not very long, but there you go. I think we're getting Finn Balor versus Damien Priest at SummerSlam. CD, I do think that match is on the horizon as well. I'm trying to work out who is going to be the champion against Gunther at this point, because I'm not convinced it's Priest or McIntyre at this point. Maybe Money in the Bank is going to play a big part. Maybe you just might get your wish with Sami Zayn after. We imagine Sami versus Gunther one more time for a world title, this time at SummerSlam.
If only, fingers crossed, man. But I would want Sami to win, man. Don't get my hopes like that.
I'm sorry, mate. I don't mean to break your heart. Pierre, this can't be done either. Once again, though, Logan Paul, incredible match. He is proven to be one of the top guys in WWE. Absolutely. Another celebrity interfering in a world title match. Yeah, I mean, Jon Stewart did back in 2015, and it's been done here again. Rey and Dominik Mysterio, Miz, Seth Rollins, Ricochet, Rey, Kevin Owens, Randy, and Cody Rhodes, all bangers for me. There you go. That's the resume of Logan Paul, including Roman Reigns as well. But CD agrees with you, by the way, of Logan Paul winning Money in the Bank at one point to win a world title, and to cast as Logan as world champ could be a lot of fun. I could see it. Good shout, NX Steve. Pierre has helped me out. The name is Ibrahim Al-Halla or Haja. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but we have the correct name there. So, Pierre, thank you for correcting me. Eric says, Logan has really impressed me in the ring. I don't like him as a person, but he's a wrestler. Exactly. The thing is, you haven't got to like him, but he's good at what he does in the ring. And that's what I'm going to judge him on. I don't follow any of his stuff outside of WWE, to be fair. CD says, fun fact, both of Logan Paul's world title matches have been in Saudi. Absolutely. He won the United States title also in Saudi. Eric says, I hear heroes dying. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They understand. I would sing it, Eric, but I'm not going to sing it for you. But good to see that it's finally getting his flowers with it. Eric gives the show a 7 out of 10, by the way, as well. And CD says, if we're not getting The Rock versus Cody for the championship at SummerSlam, then we're getting it at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns versus Rock is a must happen at WrestleMania 41, unless it happens at WrestleMania 42. I think we may get Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul for the title match for the Undisputed Championship and the United States Championship at Clash of the Castle. The Solo Sikoa calls it to be a DQ. Excellent theory, because Cody now would have a reason to go for that United States Championship, like the idea that could set up Cody versus Solo for Money in the Bank. CD, you're cooking. That's what I'm going to say. I think you're cooking something there. Priest versus Balor will be non-title for SummerSlam for sure. I do agree with that if that was to be the case. And a way Logan Paul could get another championship match is by him winning a number one contenders match. Absolutely true. Same with AJ Styles. Eric Douglas says, what would happen if Gunther and Nia were already champion at SummerSlam? Well, I believe the shots are designated for then, so they probably will not be given one before that moment. It is one of the biggest shows of the year. I would hate to think they would take an opportunity before then.
Yeah, no, it'd be silly booking almost. Like, that's why they don't put the champions in the tournament either.
Absolutely. Last note, just before we finish off, because I've not mentioned it was a QR code, which you sent me the details to. Looks like we have a date set for the White Six. So if you don't want to know about it, this is your time to switch off the video. 3, 2, 1. It was a King and Queen. No, it wasn't a King and Queen in the ring. It is set to be the Raw after Clash at the Castle of Scotland. It looks to be June 17th, which currently is listed to be in Corpus Christi. That's what the date gives. That's the Raw show. If you're putting 2 and 2 together, that looks to be the place the White Six will be debuting. So if they do debut, do you feel comfortable that will be the date, judging off this latest QR code?
I would believe so. Like normally, it's when everything they've leaked so far has led to just something else on social media. But the fact that it's a specific, like, it was very cleverly done, like with the wording on the URL code and what it leads to and what that date symbolizes. And I pretty much think this is going to be the debut of Uncle Howdy. Interested, it's going to be on Raw as well. I think that's the key thing as well. Like I said, it would be interesting to see if they are brand locked, which I fingers crossed, they hope they're not. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do, man, because the video was kind of weird. Like I said, the guy playing 2K24 by the looks of it, and then I think from what it was, he looks out his window and there's like a shadowy figure standing outside, and I was like, I'd be interested to know who the guy was actually playing the video game, whether he's got some role to play. So what that is, I don't know. Hopefully this all kind of makes sense, and it hasn't. I would like to see all these QR codes and everything they've done play some part in this story at some point.
It helps it make sense with the continuity and connecting it. So there are 3 notes I have with them being on Raw, not being on SmackDown. Actually 4. First one, they won't go after Cody, which I think is a lot what a lot of people expected would happen if he went to SmackDown. So I'm glad that's not going to happen. Point number 2 is Braun Strowman's currently on Raw. He was drafted to Raw, so Braun could be used at some point in amongst the White Six if they wanted to. Jey Uso is using the Fireflies on his entrance. I wonder if that is done with any intention to have interactions with the White Six. I know someone mentioned it on our predictions podcast for King and Queen of the Ring. Whoever did, shout out to you, because that could actually be a distinct possibility now. And the last point, unfortunately, escaped my brain. I was suffering for a bit of a cold, unfortunately. Randy Orton. Well, he's on SmackDown, isn't he?
Oh, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I keep getting my shows mixed up. I'm going to get a list of the rosters and just plaster it on my wall so I can just go, oh yeah.
I have the rosters here actually always saved, so I should send this to you. Look, there it is. It's there, so you can have everybody there.
I've never seen this list before in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
I remember the last point, by the way. Braun Strowman has issues with the Judgment Day, so maybe the Judgment Day could be the first targets.
It's going to be a very weird trifecta of a story going on there, but I like the sound of it. Like, could be interesting.
It could be indeed. Well, that's all from us anyway. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your comments. Massive thank you to NXT, as always, for taking the time to be on these videos, and appreciate you, dude.
Always a pleasure, man. Like I said, look forward to doing them every single time. It's always good to completely waffle rubbish and, do you know what I mean, give my rubbish opinion on stupid things that pee me off when it comes to watching pro wrestling. But hey, it's good to get off my chest, I suppose.
Absolutely. The next time he'll get stuff off his chest is on Wednesday, because we will be back here and we will be doing the 10-year anniversary of NXT TakeOver, the first ever one we'll be doing on Wednesday. So make sure to join us for that. Includes the likes of Sami Zayn versus Tyler Breeze will be on that card. We've got Charlotte Flair versus Natalya on that card as well, with Brett and Ric Flair in the corners. And of course, we've got Adrian Neville versus Tyson Kidd. You are not going to want to miss this, looking at Steve's reaction right now. Look after yourselves. Thank you all for watching. Card. It is a special card. It's the first ever takeover. There was 36 of them in the end. They did quite well. But thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, leave a comment as well. We'll see you for the next video. Take care.